بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم بالإسناد المتصل إلى الإمام أبي حامد الغزالي رحمه الله تعالى حجة الإسلام قال في كتابه إحياء علوم الدين كتاب آداب السفر. Continue and try to conclude in this or the next class the book of travel from Ihya Ulum of Imam Ghazali. May Allah be well pleased with him and thank him and benefit us with him and his knowledge. Ameen. He said, the book of travel in Ihya Ulum the revival of the sciences of religion. He said towards the end of that book, فَإِن قُلْتَ, and he's discussing here the rulings associated to travel and the traveler. If you say فلو خرج المسافر من غير تعلم ذلك هل يعصي, if the traveler leaves their home without acquiring knowledge of everything that we just discussed, and he was just discussing how to find out the Qibla and what we should know about the Qibla when we are not within sight of the Kaaba. And in the Shafi'i mazhab he said the correct position and the preferred position is that the general direction is enough, and he defined the general direction as being 45 degrees right and 45 degrees left of the pinpoint of the Kaaba. That is for people who are not within sight of the Kaaba. So we're not knowing all of this, and also how to find out about the time of prayers and so forth, everything that has been said in this book so far, is one committing a sin if not acquiring this knowledge. فأقول, I reply, إن كان طريقه على قرى متصلة فيها محاريب, if that traveler's path includes towns that are connected and that contain prayer niches, maharib, meaning there's mosques there, so he can find out the direction of prayer from those towns, and it's connected, right? So it's all along. أو كان معه في الطريق بصير بأدلة القبلة, or there is some guide expert in the proofs and the signs of the direction of prayer with him, موثوق بعدالته وبصيرته, and that is trustworthy when it comes to uprightness and expertise. ويقدر على تقليده فلا يعصي, and one is able to imitate such a person, then one is not sinning. وَإِن لَمْ يَكُنْ مَعَهُ شَيْءٌ مِنْ ذَلِكَ عَصَى, but if he has nothing like that, then one is sinning. So one comes out and does not even, before the time of those smartphones and those apps, does not even take a print out of the prayer times of that place where he's going to, or a compass. A compass that is specific to the Qibla prayer, because they were widespread since the 70s, right? And or there is no knowing that this is not a Muslim country they're going to, and so forth. So, and doesn't know a Muslim community there, etc. So if nothing of that and does not care, that would be sinful. Right? So that is the scenario here. لأنه, because سيتعرض لوجوب الاستقبال, sooner or later is going to have to face the wujub, the obligation of facing the Qibla. ولم يكن قد حصل علمه أو حصل علمه, and he has not yet acquired that knowledge, or does not have that knowledge of the Qibla with him. فصار ذلك كعلم التيمم وغيره. So this is similar to what we said concerning knowledge of the rulings of dry ablution See, if you go and there's no water on the way, and you know that you might not have water enough to share between what you need to drink and what you need for wudu. So you have to know the rulings connected to dry ablution, but you have not learned them, so you'll be sinning if there is no expert to teach you that on the way or there. فإن تعلم هذه الأدلة, if he learns those proofs, واستبهم عليه الأمر بغيم مظلم, but still matters are obscure to him because there's clouds, there's something that is happening with the circumstances. أو ترك التعلم ولم يجد في الطريق من يقلده, or he disregards learning and then does not have anyone teaching him on the way. فعليه أن يصلي في الوقت على حساب حالي. Still he must pray on time على حسب حاله, according to his circumstance. ثم عليه القضاء سواء أصاب أم أخطأ. Then he must make up all those prayers whether he was right, praying in the right direction or not. In other words, he estimates that this is the direction of prayer, or he says all the directions belong to Allah. Well, he still has to make up all of those prayers. وَالْأَعْمَى لَيْسَ لَهُ إِلَّا التَّقْلِيدِ. A blind person can only imitate. There's no other option for a blind person. فَلْيُقَلِّدْ مَنْ يُوثِقُ بِدِينِهِ وَبَصِيرَتِهِ. So let him imitate whoever is trustworthy in their religion and their expertise. إِنْ كَانَ مُقَلَّدَهُ مُجْتَهِدًا فِي الْقِبْلَةِ. If that one that he's imitating is an independent scholar who can have ijtihad in the qibla, يعني who can give fatwa in that. وإن كانت القبلة ظاهرة, but if the qibla, the prayer direction, is visible, is externally, can be ascertained externally, فله اعتماد قول كل عدل يخبره بذلك في حضر أو سفر. Then he can rely on any upright person that informs him of that, whether he's traveling or at home. وليس للأعمى ولا للجاهل أن يسافر في قافلة ليس فيها من يعرف أدلة القبلة. Neither a blind person nor an ignorant person has permission to travel in a caravan, a group, that does not contain at least one expert or person who knows the signs of the prayer, of the direction of prayer. You have to, but if you carry a bawsula, يعني compass, and you prepare yourself, then you are not someone who does not know. You see, and even a blind person can ask someone trustworthy to tell him what this instrument says or this smartphone says, and so forth. Right. حيث يحتاج إلى الاستدلال, because one in a caravan needs proof, needs signs. كما ليس للعامي أن يقيم ببلدة, just as a non-scholar does not have permission to take up residence in a location ليس فيها فقيه عالم بتفصيل الشرع, that does not have any jurist, any scholar of the law that knows about the rulings of the law. بل يلزمه الهجرة إلى حيث يجد من يعلمه دينه. Such a person must emigrate to go and live in a place where there will be someone who will teach them their religion. They have no excuse to say. So remember our teacher Shaykh Wahb al-Zuhayli rahimahullah ta'ala in the mosque telling us that was one person who said, an older person, who claimed that, you know, for 20 years they had no idea that it was not allowed to have sex with their wife during Ramadan in the daylight for 20 years. And I was asking Dr. Wahb al-Zuhaili, said, you know, I might have, you know, and might have not, you know, during those 20 years. And Dr. Wahb al-Zuhaili said, you have no excuse in that. You are not off the hook at all. You have to go and estimate how many times, and you have to fast 2 months, consecutive months, or you have to make some kafara. This is, so in the same way, there is no excuse for someone not to know the rulings of the law in a location where they are, and there is no one there to teach them, and then later they cannot say, well, this is where my livelihood took me, and they did not obtain that knowledge ahead of time or at the time. So يلزمه الهجرة, he must emigrate. وكذا إن لم يكن في البلد إلا فقيه فاسق فعليه الهجرة أيضا. And similarly, if there is only one faqih, one jurist in that place, but it happens to be a sinful person, fasiq, so he must emigrate as well. بل العدالة شرط لجواز قبول الفتوى. Uprightness is a precondition for acceptance of a fatwa. كما في الرواية, just as narrated. فإن كان معروفا بالفقه مستور الحال في العدالة. Now, if someone is known to have religious knowledge, but it is uncertain what their moral state is, مستور الحال في العدالة. والفسق, one is not sure whether they are upright or sinful. For example, there is a rumor that they have stakes in a place that sells alcohol, for example. A rumor. Or it has been known that some people, they do that, even though they are Muslim, and even though they are even knowledgeable, and they go to the mosque and so forth and so forth. So, it is not that kind of fisq and adala, not something, for example, that is completely hidden. If coming out with the smell of alcohol on their breath, that's something else. But who knows what in the privacy of... So Imam Ghazali, for example, says to sitting with wine bibbers at the time of drinking, just sitting there and not getting up, leaving their company, or sitting with foreign woman in private, that's khalwa. Not doing anything, just sitting there, and other things like that. So he said these are not kaba'ir, these are sagha'ir, but they are sins. So to do that on a regular basis, to not care and so forth, or to even believe that it is unimportant, that is a cause for lack of uprightness. If such a thing is kept hidden, and one does not know whether such a person would avoid for sure such situations, so one does not have positive knowledge that they are upright. This is mastur al-hal في العدالة والفسق. فله القبول مهما لم يجد من له عدالة ظاهرة. So they can be used as long as one whose uprightness is not positively established, is found. No one such as that is found yet. So we use someone about whom we are not sure. But we don't use someone about whom we are sure they are not upright, even if they have the religious knowledge. So that's what he's saying. You see, there is a tripartite division here. لأن المسافر في البلاد, because a traveler abroad لا يقدر أن يبحث عن عدالة المفتين, doesn't have the leeway to start researching the uprightness of those who give fatwa. فإن رآه لابسا الحرير, so if he sees him wearing spun silk, expensive silk, this is one of the sins that Imam Ghazali mentions in other parts of the Ihya as a minor sin, صغائر, but it is a sin nevertheless. We're talking males here, not females. Females may wear it, that's not a sin. And we're talking males without an excuse, like Sayyidina Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu, he had eczema. So he had an excuse. He had like severe eczema. Subhanallah, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests and gifts on this side and on that side. Sayyidina Uthman was described as someone, one of the Sahaba said, I never saw anyone more handsome, whether man or woman, but Sayyidina Uthman. And not to attract attention, he would go out with a face veil. Sayyidina Uthman himself. How handsome and attractive, tall and so forth he was. And Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would cover his thigh in his presence in a way that he would not bother to cover it in the presence of Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Sayyidina Umar, because Sayyidina Uthman entered out of shyness and modesty. They always said he is shy and modest, like that, so acknowledging that. And on the other hand, he was afflicted with severe eczema, and he had a rough rule also, and was killed in that rule. So severe tests, subhanahu wa ta'ala, giving to whoever he pleases. So wearing silk, so it's not allowed. أو ما يغلب عليه, but see, wearing silk is not something, that like kabair. It's not something that incurs a had, like the drinking wine and drunkenness and so forth. Wearing silk. Right? So أو ما يغلب عليه الإبريسم, or raw silk. So إبريسم, الإبريسم is raw silk. So it looks like a Arabized word from another language. راكبا لفرس عليه مركب ذهب, might be riding on a horse that has parts of the saddle have gold on them, for example, like the pommel, let's say, or something like that. You see, so or the saddle itself, or some curtain, howdah on top of it, or whatever. Now, فقد ظهر فسقه. So his fisq now is showing. Such a person, fisq. If you tell a person, look, Prophet ﷺ literally said, wear it on this or that finger, and you still wear it on the third finger of the hand for a male, about a ring, and you tell him that time and again, and he does not care. So it's not a major sin, but it could be a sign, a bad sign. You tell him the sunnah of Prophet ﷺ, you don't change it. So we take that seriously. We tell you time and again. Prophet ﷺ said, "Don't urinate standing." So take that seriously. Put it into practice, and unless you are traveling, you have some excuse, you are in a hurry and so forth, all right, but Prophet ﷺ himself did it to show us that it is not haram, it is only makruh. But here we're talking about haram. Right. So, أو راكما فقد ظهر فسقه. Now the fisq is apparent. وامتنع عليه قبول قوله, and one must not accept what he says. Must consult someone else. Must seek a second opinion, if this is the only one he has. فليطلب غيره, let him ask someone else. وكذلك إذا رآه يأكل على مائدة سلطان أغلب ماله حرام. And similarly, when he sees him eating at the table of a ruler whose income is mostly haram, yani taken unjustly, so or one that does not bring out the zakat. So, right. So, for example, Harun al-Rashid, in the story of him visiting one of the awliya, was either Bishr al-Hafi or someone of that generation, and telling him, please accept this gift. This is a sadaqah of some gold, and it's from my mother's inheritance. He wanted to tell him, because his mother was known as a pious woman, Harun al-Rashid's mother. One, and two, inheritance. So there's no sin in it. He wanted to let him know that this is not from another source. See, because the income of the ruler is notorious, is proverbially known as something that there is a big question mark over. Right. So, seeing someone there, then that is a bad sign when it comes to judging their uprightness. Or أو يأخذ منه إدرارا أو صلة. So or accepting many gifts, a lot of gifts from them. See, and there were some ulama that were closer, and many ulama that kept away from such situations because of that. Even from pious sultans, so let alone the rest. من غير أن يعلم أن الذي يأخذه من وجه حلال, without checking whether what he accepts, what he takes, etc., has a halal excuse or justification. فكل ذلك فسق يقدح في العدالة. Ibn al-Jawzi, he has a nice discussion on this. He says, it is piety to get rich so that you will not fall into such mistakes through poverty. So ulama, he would say, oh ulama, get some wealth, oh ulama of knowledge, so that you will not be forced to sit at the table of sultans or ask rich people and sell your religion in exchange, because you will not be checking whether this is halal or haram anymore. Your poverty will be too much pressure for you to bear. And he gave examples. He said, look, Ibn al-Musayyib, he was a big oil trader. Look, so and so. Sufyan al-Thawri, he was a merchant as well. These were big fuqaha of the tabi'in and the tabi'at tabi'in. Sufyan al-Thawri, at one point, there is a report where he says, don't ask me now, I am counting my fulus. I'm counting my currency here. Ask me later. My heart is in the currency right now. He was concentrating on his count. So look, this is Sufyan al-Thawri, the one who fasted to the point that he would bleed blood. He would urinate blood at some point. And he would consider himself nothing compared to others. Sufyan al-Thawri. And he died also, Abdurrahman ibn Mahdi was skipping Jum'ah in order to take care of him because he had chronic diarrhea until he died. Sufyan al-Thawri, on his deathbed, he had to be dragged to the place of relief and dragged back to his bed until he died. And Abdurrahman al-Bahni asked him, is it okay if I stay with you? I'm concerned. He was his only nurse. And skip Jum'ah. I said, yes, there is a proof for that. He said, what is the proof? He said, Prophet ﷺ said, مَا دَامَ اللَّهُ بِعَوْنِ عَبْدِهِ مَا دَامَ الْعَبْدُ فِي عَوْنِ أَخِيهِ. So as long as the slave of Allah is helping out his brother, then Allah is helping him. No worries. So, like that. And so one is not incompatible with the other. Making money and having cover for your self and your dependents is piety also, it's religion also. Prophet ﷺ said to Amr ibn al-As, the governor of Egypt, oh yeah, Amr, you know, what a wonderful thing is wealth for a pious person. Because then he will spend it in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and acquire what Prophet ﷺ called in another hadith, duthur, ahl duthur. The people of wealth will have lots of rewards. Now, so must be careful about that. فَكُلُّ ذَلِكَ فِسْقٌ. All of that is sinfulness. يَقْدَحُ فِي الْعَدَالَةِ, impairing uprightness. وَيَمْنَعُ مِنْ قَبُولِ الْفَتْوَى وَالرِّوَايَةِ وَالشَّهَادَةِ, and precluding the acceptance of fatwa and narration and witnessing. Subhanallah, this is a lot. And then he addresses the times of prayer. وَأَمَّا مَعْرِفَةُ أَوْقَاتِ الصَّلَوَاتِ الْخَمْسِ فَلَا بُدَّ مِنْهَا. One must know the times of the 5 prayers, and inshallah we will read this next time. الله تعالى أعلم وأحكم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. الحمد لله رب العالمين.